Later is Peter Moore, owner of Shootopia. Peter also contributed wonderfully to the retailer panel yesterday. Gail Grant, VP of Sales, Derek Alexander. We have David Cumber, National Director of Sales, Canada Kodiak and Terra Footwear, and Mark Hubner, VP of Marketing, Baffin Limited. Thank you so much for contributing, you guys. I'm going to fade off into the background and leave it to you.
All right, well, welcome everybody. As Michelle was saying, I was happy to be part of yesterday too. And, you know, Dave, Mark, and Gail, we haven't had a chance to get together before this really either. So it'll be fresh for us all. Did you, the three of you actually have an opportunity to see yesterday's panel? I just want to know whether I should rehash some of that stuff because it was a good conversation and we're going to sort of follow up some of that stuff. But did you get a chance to look at that?
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to.
Okay.
I was on Zoom meetings all day like everybody else, I think.
Yeah, 6 hours on Zoom yesterday. I get it. And so what we'll do, I'll interject some of the stuff that was brought up on the retail panel yesterday too as we roll along with this. But first, to get the ball rolling, let's do some introductions. And if you just give us, 2 minutes or 2 minutes. I was going to start with Gail. Gail, are you still there? She just flipped off. I was going to say ladies first, but then her camera went off. So maybe Dave, do you want to start us off?
Sure, Peter. First of all, thanks a lot for the invitation and the opportunity to be part of this today. Really looking forward to it. I have been working with Kodiak for the last 14 years or so. As the sales leader in Canada. I've been in the footwear business for longer than that, and we'll just leave it there. But like I said, just glad to be here and looking forward to the discussion.
Great. Mark, how about you?
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm thrilled to be here as well. There was I think 5 or 6 people who were asked at Baffin, but they were not available. So here I am.
We're happy to have you.
Thanks, Peter. I've been with the company for a long time as I was born into the business, formerly a family-owned company. My dad, Paul Hubner, started Baffin and my grandfather got started and his father before him in the shoe industry in the UK. So very, very passionate about footwear and love the industry. Thank you.
Right on. Gail, are you with us? I see Gail's picture there, but she's frozen. So I'm not sure. Gail, if you can hear us, are you there now?
I'm here now. I seem to be having technical problems hearing everyone.
Yeah. Well, why don't you just give us a 1 minute, 2 minute sort of history and background on yourself and the company you represent.
Well, my name's Gail Grant. I represent Derek Alexander. We're a Canadian company out of Calgary, Alberta. We more so represent at the shoe show accessories, handbags, leather goods. So I don't do shoes directly, but as we all know, it's a wonderful pair to, no pun intended, to a pair of shoes is a nice handbag. So I've participated in the Toronto Shoe Show for 20 plus years, and I'm happy to be here today.
Great. Awesome. Well, thanks so much. And as Michelle said, I'm a shoe retailer, so I've got a couple of retail stores and I have a couple of other businesses too. I do some entrepreneurial coaching and have a sanitary cleaning company. So I am in the midst of all of it too. And we'll have a good chat today about a whole bunch of different things. But I think the big thing that came up yesterday and where we'll start with everything that seems to be the ongoing thing that I think we're all concerned about is communication and communication between all parties, between our reps, between corporate, how the communication rolls between the websites and to our stores and where are we all fitting in all of that? How's the word getting out and how's everything happening? And I think when we look at how things are now, we need to kind of go back and assess, okay, well, that was then and this is now. And I don't want to talk about too much of what happened 5-6 months ago. I think the conversation today is more about what are we doing in the future so that everybody has clarity about conversations about where things are at and all that sort of thing. So I kind of wanted to start, by the way, anybody who's listening, we kind of have some questions that were drawn up based on some conversations of a bunch of different retailers. So these aren't my questions per se; they're more just questions that were inputted. So we'll try and get a few of those answered off today. And the first one we'll start off was, before COVID, communication issues were at times problematic. And now the pandemic has intensified the situation, and we're all dealing with this because we're working out of our homes. At home today, I think you guys at home or maybe at work, whatever the case is, we're all sort of in and out, and it's hard to get a hold of people and all that sort of stuff. But ultimately, we've had some time now to figure some of that out. And maybe, Dave, do you want to start us off by how Kodiak has sort of managed the whole communication side within your corporation and back to the retailers, so that we can kind of get a framework and understand how that operates and what you've done to improve that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think most people know, but I'll just point it out that, Kodiak and Terra, the brands are actually part of the VF Corporation right now. So although we have our own, smaller organization, we're part of a much, much bigger company. So the communication around what happened with COVID initially and how things were, kind of progressing with deliveries and so on. I mean, there was obviously a much bigger network of communication around all of that early on. But for our specific, division of the company, I think what we did early on that was really important was making sure that our field reps were reaching out to customers on a regular basis, not to, push for orders or that sort of thing, but to really just talk to them about what was happening, what were their needs, what are they seeing. And that was actually being flowed up to our leadership team. We had all of our reps doing a daily report, not a long, piece or anything like that, but just a snapshot of kind of what they were hearing, what was happening, so that we could share that out. And then we were obviously reacting to what we were hearing back to our customers. So having the reps actually staying engaged with the customers, I think, was the number one thing that we did. And it was really, I think it was accelerated or increased when things started happening. And, when everybody's working at home, where everybody is, how to get a hold of them and when to get a hold of them. So it was a little bit easier than we thought it was going to be to manage the business.
Awesome. Have you guys changed anything internally, like with your website or with your online ordering programs or anything? Have you noticed anything there that's changed, that you've made some, in your eyes, positive changes? And have you had any feedback on any of that?
Yeah, actually, sorry, you're asking me again, Peter?
Yeah, we'll just finish up.
In November of last year, we actually had launched a B2B program for our retailers where they could go in and place their own orders, see inventory, and so on. What we've seen over the last 6 or 7 months is a real dramatic increase in usership on that B2B site. I think it's great to be able to go in and see inventory and place orders in off hours when you don't actually have to get a hold of a rep or a hold of customer service. And I think that's been a really, really big, positive investment that we've made. We did it without knowing COVID was coming, but it's actually become a great help to our business and to our retailers through time.
Oh, that's awesome. Gail, while we have you, before you cut out again, hopefully we've got you, but we were just chatting about communication and stuff. How is Derek Alexander, and how have you been trying to reach out and connect and make sure that everybody's getting the information they need to do business with you so that they can get your products out?
Well, it's been a trying time, as we all know, and I feel like I've reconnected and talked to customers on a whole different level. It's become a lot more intimate, and that's actually part of what I appreciate COVID has done.
Yeah.
You want to know not just about business when you're talking to your customers anymore, and you're really wondering about their well-being. And we've discovered through the intense communication that it's something that really helped us figure out how to help each customer independently. There wasn't one blanket answer that was going to help everybody. Everyone is in different positions. I deal with the shoe industry heavily, but I also deal with the travel industry, which has been severely hit by COVID.
For
So
sure.
communication, as we all know, social media is an essential way of life nowadays. Social media is how people communicate with each other. It's our sense of entertainment. That's a lot of people's news broadcast, and it's also where they shop. So we've had to use our social media platform on a completely different level than we've ever used it before, because we used to be a little bit more reserved in that regard. But we had no choice but to step up and, get in touch with our customers via social media.
And have you found any resistance regarding that, Gail, from your retailers, or are they happy about that?
Well, not everybody is like, as being independent retailers, everybody's different. So
Yeah.
there is a whole segment of it that loves it. They've actually asked, they're increasing their social media presence as well. So they're asking for feedback from us, or for some kind of pictures, lifestyle shots, whatever it may be, logos.
Yeah.
So we're supporting each other, I find, through it, because
Yeah, and I think
not
that's so interesting, right? Is you know what? Sometimes you take some of these things and you flip it over, and it becomes a collaboration. And when it becomes a collaboration, then everybody wins. The retailer is going to sell more stuff, and you're going to, supply them more stuff, and everybody wins, right?
absolutely. Not just that. Sometimes when we're forced into corners like this, we have to become more creative. And I think what will happen is a lot of this, when we get back to a better place, a lot of this that we were forced to do will help our business long term.
Awesome. How about you, Mark? What's your take on how you're doing, what you're getting out there, and have you made any changes looking back that you think will be continued on for your team at Baffin?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just completely piggybacking off what both Dave and Gail said, I think they hit the mark and on almost every area really, and we're following suit right away when things hit. Not to spend the time talking about what happened 5-6 months ago, but admittedly, we'll share that we got a little lucky. We had most of our office was on PCs actually, and we just made the decision at the beginning of the year to move to laptops and move to an internet-based system for communication. So the timing for us was pretty lucky there, but we continued to invest in that technology, and it was seamless for everybody to move remotely. Efficiency hasn't skipped a beat, and we've actually received really great feedback from our territory managers and our customers so far, who we've kept in touch with. And to further your question about investment in technologies on the B2B side, Dave, like you said, Baffin's invested in a B2B site as well. So we've completed a beta launch of that, and it's just been so well received on all fronts. So really, we're in a good place right now from a communication standpoint, and the intention is to just keep that open line flowing.
From a communication standpoint of buying, I mean, we've been through a buying season now, and how are you guys individually dealing at your businesses, and what do you think, how are you going to communicate that end of things, of all the buying? Are you going digital? Tell me a little bit about maybe what the next season, we've been through one season, but what the next season's going to look like for retailers, and how you're going to get the word out about all your newness and all the good stuff that's happening, and that sort of thing. Do you want to start with that, Gail?
Sure. I think that the focus has to be that intimate communication with your customer. It's one thing because my customer is so diverse, from a small gift shop to the shoe industry, obviously being a big portion, to travel industry. I have to be a little bit more intimate with my retailers in regards to how I do my communication. The needs are very different. with a shoe retailer compared to a travel goods store, for example. So I think what's always worked for Derek Alexander, something we're really proud of being a small Canadian company out of Alberta, is that we were built, our success has stemmed from independent retailers. Alex will always say they're the ones that made us who we are today, right? So, and I think we did that one retailer at a time. And we're not afraid of like rolling up our sleeves and having to do it that way. By all means, we're still, are we online? Yes, we're online. Do we have that type of presence? Absolutely. But the one-on-one communication is still the way we choose to go about things.
How about you, Mark?
I mean, credit where credit's due. Our sales reps, our territory managers have just done a phenomenal job on staying up. I think, you know, the quality of content and what we're able to provide and share has definitely improved, but it's just the efficiency of getting that information out there. We, over the last several months, have done a bit of a project in product photography and videography, just pulling every style and every color out and getting every angle of the boot photographed and getting those assets out there to everybody. So I think we're excited on also having some more time to film, you know, to Gail's point, that more personal touch that's going to come with the presentations as they remain remote. I think at one point, you know, we looked at opportunities to see if we could improve the, I would, for lack of a better word, flashiness of the content that we were going to deliver. And we thought, you know what, let's keep it clean. Let's keep it simple. We want to showcase the product. We want to provide the information that retailers and buyers and our partners need.
Right on. And Dave over at Kodiak and Terra?
Yeah, again, to echo what the others have said about this, I mean, we've been doing a lot of work trying to sell virtually. I mean, we were fortunate that during kind of the late summer months, you know, we did have some reps that actually started traveling out to the territory again, you know, day trips, of course, and seeing some customers. But the bulk of the selling for, you know, the spring 21 sell-in was done online, you know, digitally through Zoom. We had our first sales meeting virtually back in July, and that went a lot better than, you know, I think we thought it might. It was some time to plan for it and get ready, but I've been really impressed and pleasantly surprised by the way our reps and also the retailers have responded to doing things more virtually and digitally and so on. It's just, you know, out of necessity, but I think everybody's done a great job. I think Mark mentioned about videos and imagery and so on. You know, trying to do photo shoots and video shoots during this time hasn't been easy, but, you know, hats off to our marketing team. They've done a great job in getting more assets for our reps to use, which in turn, you know, help with the digital presence. So we've been actually, you know, as part of the, you know, conversations that we've been having with our customers, not just about selling in new products and so on, but also helping them get up to speed with online sales. And providing them with assets that they can use and helping them with that. And we've seen, like a lot of people, have a dramatic increase in online sales by our customers. And a lot of them have said to me that, you know, they're 2 or 3 years ahead of where they thought they would be because they've had to. So I think we've all been forced to advance and get to be more comfortable with all these technologies. I mean, if you'd asked me 6 months ago to do a virtual background for my Zoom call, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But, you know, it's just a regular day-to-day thing now. So it's been really, really a good learning experience as well.
Yeah. And I think
you, Dave, all I did was hang a picture.
there you go. Well, I mean, I've been Zooming for a few years now, so I was lucky to be sort of already entrenched in that as this came. But it's a wonderful technology, and you know, for many of us running multiple stores, I've been telling a lot of people that I know they need to be doing this for their for their store management meetings and all that sort of stuff. And I think there has been a lot of advancement in communication. And the funny thing is the technology's been there for a while for the most part in what we're using. It's just nobody wanted to adopt it. And now that we're forced to do it, everybody's like, wow, this is great. So, it's thrilling. And I think there's really some great things there, and people are getting time back because you're not in the car traveling to all this stuff. And you're actually, the beauty of something like this is we're our time back. We're here for a segmented amount of time and we have the rest of our day. We're not doing all that, hopping in a plane and doing some of that sort of stuff. And it allows us more time to actually be present with the people as opposed to be traveling or whatever the case is. And I think from that perspective on a communication thing, technology's really helped us out there. One of the things that was brought up yesterday too was, and if you guys are kind of all running and all running digital platforms really, but for the side of things, once we're placing seasonal orders, how are you setting up, in fact, the tracking of those? And what do you anticipate in the next season of how you're going to get that communication out? It's like, okay, I've placed my, 200 purses or 2,000 pair of boots or whatever the case is, but I need to know to make my decision, because as a retailer, we need the clarity of knowing what comes in so that we can make decisions for store layouts and for what's coming in and for planograms and all the different things that are required there. And one of the biggest issues was the fact that everybody's always trying to get a hold of everybody because they don't know where the issues are. Is it on the boat? Is it not on the boat? Is it in Canada? Is it through customs? Where's our stuff was the big thing, right? I'm sure you guys all felt that. And I guess the thing that we're looking for here is not so much where's our stuff for winter. It's how is that going to be lined out in your businesses for next season so we know what to expect. Do you want to start us off there, Mark? I know in Baffin's land, it's not a huge season for spring and summer, but there's still stuff flowing.
Yeah, there is, absolutely. And I mean, over the years, we've become a little less weather and season dependent. We've had a little bit of a saying floating around internally that we've often been referred to as a winter boot brand. We think of ourselves as a cold climate brand, and cold is not a season. So that's been that's been our mantra internally.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it comes back to, for us, the technologies that have been put in place around, we've gone with Teams, for example, Microsoft Teams, and the ability for our production manager, customer service team, a local territory manager, everywhere through business manager, VP of sales, very, very dynamic and lean team. I mean, though we're a part of a bigger corporation now with Canada Goose, we remain independently operated and still have that entrepreneurial spirit. So jumping on these video calls, these calls in real time, is very important for ensuring that information is available as quickly as it needs to be, as well as, I think, looking forward, that B2B platform being increasingly important for everything from, just placing ASAP orders, filling in, one-off needs as the season carries on, to understanding where your order and where product is and what inventory is available in real time.
Do you guys think you'll have tracking information there, Mark, on your B2B?
It's part of the development roadmap where we're really focused on, we don't want to provide too much too quickly and not be able to deliver or mismanage information. So it's, if we can provide a few degrees more information and really cleanly, really well, let's do that, and then move it, a percentage at a time.
Yeah, that's great.
But as far as we've got some automatic emailing that goes on right now with where orders at, in terms of specific tracking numbers to look up online. Yeah, like that's part of the roadmap.
Yeah, that's great. And that's kind of what we're looking for. I think that gives a little bit of clarity to your customers as to what they can expect down the road, right? And I think that's kind of where everybody's head was at. It's like, okay, so what how are we going to navigate this? Because I think everybody's already expecting there is going to be more delays and there's going to be some more issues along the way over the next year here. But ultimately, just as long as we're clear and we're communicating between each other, then we can make things happen. But I think that's where, and I'm not saying your brands in particular, I'm just saying that that's where we had some issues as retailers with brands out there and suppliers, you know. Dave, what's up over at Kodiak?
Well, we're 100% in stock and we're never late, so everything's great. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, it is not perfect, that's for sure. But you know what? I think that, to your point about communication, that is really key. But one of the things, I think first of all, retailers have been fairly understanding for the most part. Yeah. Things have been delayed, and if things have been canceled, and we've tried to be upfront as much as we can. When we know something, we share it. Certainly with our business, though, being, we do a lot.
Tell us when you said when we know something, just expand on that. You share it.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
How would that happen?
So basically, when we're looking at future orders, we have a, weekly report on future orders that tells us when things are going to land and so on.
Yeah.
As that evolves and if things change it, the reps know when that comes in that they have to communicate with their customers if there's been a delay or if something is sold out or what have you. So it's really about just getting those weekly reports and sharing them out and making sure that the reps are diligent about following their business and their order book, what they have coming into their territory.
So at that point in time, within your framework of your business, that's a rep issue, right? Like that would be a rep sort of
yeah, it is
accountability.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly we have to make sure, our planning team and ops team needs to make sure that they get the information and that it's accurate.
Yeah.
The good thing that, we've experienced, because we do obviously buy so much in advance of our deliveries, that we do have pretty good line of sight on when, things are going to be delivered. There's always, port delays and the odd thing that can push it out a week or two, but through this fall and even into the deliveries we see for early spring, we really haven't had much in the way of delays. Anything that was delayed, we knew pretty early on in, when COVID started happening, and we were able to kind of adapt and share that information out. But again, it's never perfect. And I was going to say, with our business, part of the thing is with the work boot side of our business, which is a big portion of what we do, a lot of that is at once business. And so having inventory and having it, flowing in on a regular schedule is really, really important. And, frankly, business has been good. And, we have had some items that have sold out. So it's been a lot of talking to the customers about, okay, we don't have it now, but this is when we're getting it. So you need to plan ahead. And if you can get some future order, that'd be great. It's going to protect your business. So it's sharing that information and working with the retailer to help them, support their business.
And Gail, how about you at Derek Alexander? What's your feeling there?
It seems to be there's so many factors, as we all have come to realize, that affect decision making long term. That is completely out of our control. The decisions that we made for October back in May are not the decisions that we're trending with right now. Right?
It's amazing.
So it's been very difficult. Yeah, it's been very difficult to make those decisions for the future when the outside factors are what's deciding how your business is run. But you have to be very strategic.
That's something we share, Gail. That's something we absolutely share from a retailer perspective and a supplier perspective. I mean, that's a commonality. It's just so hard to figure that all out, right?
Absolutely. And you have to be very strategic about it. And one of the things that we decided early was to shift our shipping, our transportation from air to sea. Well, that was good for us economically, but we also then had to shift how we were scheduling, because the last thing you want is one of your best orders during the pandemic and not be able to fulfill it, right?
Exactly.
So as much as you're making all the adjustments to keep yourself in business and to help support your retailer, you at the same time have to be mindful of the steps involved to get there. Right? So are we looking for to the future to see what we can do? Absolutely. Are we trying to set up programs that'll support our retailer? Absolutely. But as we all know, what the future holds is so uncertain, and it's been very difficult. I will say
Gail,
that.
Gail, how can let's flip it a little bit here, and how can the retailers help you with your job and help you in the communication process so that we're taking some ownership in this? And it's like, hey, listen, this is a two-way street. We're both stakeholders here in pushing out everybody's brands. And what do you need from the retailers to make that communication flow better for your business?
We look at it as a partnership, right? It doesn't work on if you're successful and I'm not. Like, it's a partnership, it's a chain, and everybody has to do their part. So the easy answer is just communication. We've always been big on that. We've always pressed the importance of filling in your stock in a timely manner. It's not about frequent orders per se. It's just that if you sell something, the best way for you to make money as a retailer is to sell some more, right? So, and the only way you do that is to communicate back to me and say, Gail, you know what? This item is a hot seller. I just want to bring it to your attention. We've been doing really well with this particular item. I think we should put it on an automatic reorder, or just discussing what is the best course of action. Or maybe I should order 6 instead of ordering 1, or between the two of us figuring out how can we take this to the max. Because right now what we have figured out is there has been a shift in how some of the retailers are selling. Customers from the accessory business have pivoted a little bit. Big handbags, you don't see women walking around with big handbags anymore because everyone's trying to go the hands-free way. Well, I notice it a little bit with our numbers, but you would notice it first, Peter, because you would see people come into your store and you notice, well, people are buying a lot of fanny packs, or they're buying
Yep.
a lot of small bags compared to all these big bags I have left. How do I know that if you don't tell me? So at the end of the day, the long and short of it is there has to be that communication between your rep or direct to your office to let them know this is where I see things trending. And then it just helps us both long term.
I know one of the technologies that we use at Shootopia, I mean, any of our reps that wants our sell-through reports, we have them automated and they go out every week to our suppliers.
You're
And
special, Peter, though. You're a very special retailer. They're not all like that.
but
It's not always that easy.
and I know there's some resistance out there. Okay. But what I'm asking
Mhm.
is how much resistance and how can we push this through so that, how do we change that communication so that they maybe better understand that if they actually give you the sell-through report, because anybody who has a point of sale system now, 90% of them will provide that in an automated way, which is very simple. It's not, you don't have to do up any big reports, and it's like they go out automatically for the most part. And go ahead, Dave. Do you want
Yeah, I was just going to say, Peter, we've actually seen a lot more customers sharing that information
Yeah.
in the last year or so, 18 months. And it's been really, really helpful because we do share that with our planning and, show them what's trending and what's working. And I mean, I would like to see, more retailers share that information. Certainly field reports help as well if you don't actually have the data, but you can share that information that you get, directly from the customer. But one thing I also wanted to add here, and I think an important way that we're addressing like the challenges of, what's going to happen in the future and, who knows where things are going to be 6 months from now. I think one of the biggest things that we're doing and we're talking to our customers about, and we've actually seen a trend this way, is more focus on core items and basic items. people are definitely, risk averse right now, and they want to make sure that they're bringing in stuff that they know they can sell and they know is going to have a long shelf life. Certainly in the work boot business, I mean, it's not about flash and fashion by any means, but you still have, that core selection of product that is really important to a large percentage of our customers. We see that in our lifestyle business for Kodiak as well. And I think focusing on a tighter selection and going deeper on inventory and the best sellers is really a good way to, kind of be cautious and be able to manage your business. And we're
Yeah,
doing.
I know we're certainly doing that at our
Yeah.
2 stores, and it's something that a core business is important, and that's if we're going to be doing those kind of things and setting up those fills and setting up those automated reports, it just makes that kind of stuff a whole lot easier for the people purchasing in your business and for you guys to understand plan what's coming ahead too, right?
Well, yeah, and to be able to go to a retailer and say, you know what, this is our best seller. You're not carrying it. We really think you should have it because we're going to be in stock. We're also going to be advertising it. So you should see more, interest from the consumer. We've got more digital assets for core items, so on and so forth. It really just helps accelerate, the business and drive the volumes in those core styles. So that's been really important for us and a big part of our go forward strategy.
Are you in that same, so you're
And if I
shaking your
could
head there,
add,
Mark? Are you sort of in the same vein there?
Absolutely. I mean, it's such a fantastic point. I really couldn't agree more, and couldn't have put it any better myself. It's definitely an overarching strategy that Baffin's adopted heading into this season, and we're seeing it be more and more relevant. It's amazing as each week goes by.
It's we see it at retail too. I mean, people are coming in and, just to recap a touch from yesterday, we talked about the fact that we aren't seeing the door traffic that we're used to seeing, but we are experiencing wonderful conversions. And I mean, I certainly am in that frame at our stores. We aren't having the door traffic that we're used to. We have traffic counters, but when you look at the conversions, and for those of you out there that don't understand conversions maybe as well, it's really just how many, if they're coming in, are they buying? And that ratio has really climbed this year, which basically means that people are coming in ready to buy. And when they're ready to buy, what they're ready to buy, they already know what they're coming in for. And a lot of times they're coming in for a core established legacy product. It's like, I just want my Kodiaks or Baffins or New Balance or whatever, the Blundstone, whatever it is. I just want what I'm wearing because that's the safe buy right now. And I don't really want to look around. I don't really want, I kind of know what I need, and it's a need, not a want. And then I'm going to take it and go. And so maybe that is, the safe strategy of working through. And from a retailer and supplier perspective, have you guys been working to bump up those core items over what you've had in the past in your back end, in your warehouses?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have.
Yeah, if I could, absolutely. And if I could add to that point as well, what we've noticed at Derek Alexander in the past, we've already been through a recession. And during that time, we recognized that customers shifted from cheap and cheery to one quality item. So instead of buying 3 items, they would buy 1 good item, right? And and we benefited from that during the recession. And we've noticed it trending that same way now during these times. So absolutely, we bumped up our classic items. The beauty of Derek is that we are pretty much a classic line anyways. But the items that what we consider core, we have a core set of styles that we have increased our numbers. There's by no means will anybody want one and it not be available, because we recognize how those are the numbers that are trending the highest.
Yeah, I think that's a common thing for both of us as far as from the retailer standpoint and the supplier things, and I think that's a frustration too from a retail side of things when we're looking for something that an established, something that's really a truly legacy product. And we're going back and saying, you know what, this is a legacy product. Why is it not there? And yeah, we all understand the stuff that's been going on, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, this is a product that's been around for 10 years and still continues to be a big seller. So why isn't the next boat already here with it?
Yeah.
What's sort of the answer to that? Because that's a common one. I'm sure you guys hear it.
Well, if I could, Peter, I would just say that one of the things that we've seen, especially on those core products, is that now people have come back to them even stronger. And I mean, we're selling more than, we kind of planned, especially, we had to be a little bit cautious on certain things. But the business has come back in some of those items much stronger than we expected, much faster than we expected. So, I mean, it is hard to react quickly when you're, buying things offshore and so on. But again, it's part of the thing is making sure you're communicating that, letting people know what's happening, when the next delivery is coming, get your order in. And to that, we know that it is a challenge for retailers to put in futures and there's risk and, maybe a little bit of caution there. We've been really willing to kind of work with our retailers and, on whether it's delivery dates or adjusting quantities. It's not something we want to do with everybody on a daily basis, but we understand that there has to be some flexibility, work with the retailer, because it's really, I think we realize how challenging it is for retail. It's always challenging, but more challenging than ever. So we definitely take that into account when we're talking to our customers about, what the future is going to look like.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about that too yesterday, about sort of how things have had to be massaged along the way, whether it's pack and hold or whether it's, some discounts for late stuff or whatever the case is. And I think for the most part, the retailers are feeling as though there's been a good partnership there, and in most cases. And I think that like you said, Dave, we're all in it together, and there has been that sort of stuff, and I think that's been good from that perspective. And I think, Gail, you talked a little bit earlier about that relationship, and I think those are the times where relationships matter, right? And when you've actually, you're living up to your past history on either side, and it's like, hey, listen, can I count on this person to come through for me? And those kind of things have happened, and a lot of good stories there, I think, over the last few months. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited about how those partnerships grow and continue on, and bringing things closer. I see no point in having this idea of being at either side of the table all the time, as opposed to beside each other and pushing out the brands in a system that works for both of us. Which kind of comes into another part of the thing where we were talking a little bit about how your online stores are representing retailers and how that works. And there was some concern that as the brands build their own online stores, that our independent retailer gets cut out more so, whether it even be on their own sites for highlighting where the local retailers are, where they can go try stuff on, or whether it's just a matter of the push towards that and maybe not getting as many co-op dollars or any of these other different things along the way. So can you guys just tell me what your sort of strategy moving out for your online stuff is, and where does the independent retailer fit in that within your brands? Do you want to start with that, Mark?
Yeah, happy to. I mean, our wholesale and retail partners are still and will continue to be absolutely strategically important to the business. And we see our presence in direct to consumer as being very complementary to the wholesale and retail experience. It's got to be very symbiotic, because it's not going anywhere, especially if we can continue to support that. As far as managing the marketplace, we're doing what we can to police online channels and make sure that it's profitable for everybody in their geography. But specific to some of the things that we've done on our website and online from a marketing perspective. Very proud founding partner of an initiative called the Shop Local Project. It was something that we moved pretty quickly on, and essentially a website, an e-commerce opportunity for independent retailers who don't have an e-commerce presence. And what we helped build there was the opportunity for consumers to buy gift cards for their local retail partner or local retailer in the area. And what that helped to do, especially during the shutdowns that we experienced, was bring in a bit of cash flow while foot traffic wasn't happening, but then ensure that those people are going to be shopping when things open up again. So a small piece of the puzzle, but to Gail's point before, it's about you get backed into a corner and let's be creative. So otherwise, we've made a very intentional decision to continue to keep a well-functioning retail locator on our website. So anytime somebody wants to know where they can buy our product in their area, that's available to them.
And are you guys, one of the other things that we had sort of briefly talked about was the idea of drop shipping and stuff like that. Is that something in your wheelhouse now, or is it coming up?
Yeah, we have drop shipping available. It's something that has worked well. It's an investment that we made in our logistics and distribution operation to be able to support that business, because it's, like I said, it's that symbiotic relationship between wholesale and e-commerce, and both of us providing that solution to the end user.
Awesome. Gail, what's Derek Alexander doing in this sort of moment?
Well, we have been and always continue to be very intentional about our online presence, but in a different way. Alex has always taken the position that he wanted the focus to stay on the independent retailer, and we hesitated for a long time because we didn't want to compete with our retailers when it came to online. So when we did initially get online and continue now, we are priced much higher than most of our independent retailers in hopes of driving the business to the retailer themselves. So we have done that in hopes of supporting the retailer. So is the line available for people to see? Absolutely. But the best option, we're telling the consumer, is to go to your local retailer store. So we're in the midst of setting up, because we're not as far along as we want to be at this point, but we are in the midst of setting up, knowing who is the closest retailer to you based on area code and whatnot. That is something we're working on. Previously,
Nice.
We didn't drop ship, but we've moved towards drop shipping in order to support our independent retailer. So our focus keeps staying with independent retailers because we recognize that that's who's got us where we are today. So online, are we there? Absolutely. We're not as far along as some of the others, but it's been a very intentional move because we wanted to more so stay in the background and let the focus be on the retail store.
I think that's good. And just speaking from personal experience, I know it's frustrating when your brand that you're representing in your store goes on sale before you do. So I like that sort of take on holding your prices maybe even higher than what has been suggested at the retail level. That's just a little personal take there, Gail. But because I've been witness, and I think probably most of the retailers have too, where it's like, wow, are you kidding me? That's on sale on this particular brand website, and I just got it in like a month ago. So that kind of stuff is a frustration for a lot of the retailers out there, and it can be a bit of a stab in the gut, I wanted to basically kind of come back to the idea here. We've got about 10 minutes left or thereabouts. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the idea of what are you doing in your organization to help independent retailers outside of the web store or anything else. Have you come up with any new initiatives through this time at any of your brands that are really just maybe something you're testing, maybe something you've already adopted, but what are those things that are just different than they were maybe this time last year that maybe some of the independent retailers that are listening to this particular podcast today don't even know exist?
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
What we've chose to do is we've listened really carefully to some of the demands and some of the comments that our retailers have made. And we've curated different programs, different tiered programs to suit the customer's needs. So we've done things, not just helping them financially with payment terms or whatnot, because I feel a lot of people have done that, but we've helped customers refine the inventory they do have. We've gone in and partnered with some of our retail stores, and there's no blanket answer. We haven't thought of, oh, here, this is the one thing that we're going to do and it should work. We've been curating it with each independent retailer, and some of it is a mix of two programs put together. And we find that it's been really received well. It's been working. I mean, I have customers that I don't even know how to believe this in the midst of a pandemic that I've been working with for 20 years. And they're selling more items on these new programs that they were before. And I was like, how is this happening right now? So, it's a good result from a crappy time and what's happening globally, but it made everybody think outside the box. We had to force ourselves to think of something new, be a little bit more creative and innovative, and work closer with what that particular retailer's needs are, because your needs are going to be, again, very different than the guy next door. So that's really helped us. Not just help us maintain sales, but it's also helped us develop richer relationships with our retailer.
It must be tough from your side of things, Gail, to keep track of, the amount of clients you have, to keep track of all these different arrangements along the way. And, how do you guys do that on the retail side or on the wholesale side of things? How are you keeping track of all these different things? And what do you think are things that are going to live to the next season that have come out of these things that you say, you know what, we should have been doing this already, and this is something that I think we'll probably go forth with?
Well, the first part's really easy. It's just Excel. Excel is my best friend. I'm well versed in Excel. Whatever it is I talk to my retailers about, we stick it in there. And as we're talking to that retailer, I could at least know this is what their position in. I remember that this person's really close to the border and that they've been affected by not as many tourists. So I always have that at hand when I'm dealing with my customer, and I know I can adjust to suit. I think the one program, they're all pretty decent. I think the people and we give them the ability to pick and choose what they want. But the one that we found a lot of success is with partnering with our retailer. And I think going forward, it's actually something that we used to do way back in the 90s, and we brought it back in. So I think that will probably be the one that we move forward with.
And what does partnering with the retailer mean to you? What does that program entail?
It entails supplying them what people are used to when they're buying a handbag. As a woman, you go in, you want to buy a handbag. You don't want to see 5 handbags and 6 of the same one. You want to see 30 different handbags, and it gives you, right? But not every retailer has the funds to be able to do that. So we partner with them in terms of giving the assortment, the breadth of assortment that they need, letting them know that if someone comes in, loves that bag, it's red, they want it in blue, we can drop ship it to them,
Nice.
It's only a phone call away. And worrying about billing, it's all delayed billing. So you're making your money first, and then, you know what I mean? So everybody, it's a win-win for everybody. I'm getting my product out there, my customers are able to see it. Yeah. And it's been working beautifully.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Dave, did you want to add something there?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think, just kind of ties back a little bit to what you were asking about with e-com and websites versus, our customer websites. I think, Mark and Gail, kind of outlined it pretty well, and we're, kind of along the same lines as far as
Sure.
online and supporting our retailers. One thing that we've done a lot more of during this last 6 months is we've really accelerated our digital marketing, and trying to drive more consumers to our retailers' websites. It's something that we really hadn't been doing in the past. And, we do have a co-op budget. We actually didn't cut the budget for co-op marketing, which was great to see. And actually internally, we actually moved one of the people from our marketing team to work specifically on digital partnerships with our retailers. So that was a huge win for us to have that, that job created, and been doing some great things with a lot of our customers across the country. And that's really helped, again, with our presence online, but on their sites, and hopefully driving more sales to their websites.
And is that person, Dave, is that person Kodiak Terra specific, or is that person throughout? Yeah.
No, it's Kodiak Terra specific. It's just for our two brands.
Yeah.
And she's been working day and night to get this stuff going, and it's been really paying off. And our customers are really appreciative of it as well.
Cool.
Ads on Facebook and Instagram and so on that, are calling them out.
Yeah.
Really positive. Just another couple of things that we've done. Certainly, we've always had sales promos and discounts and that sort of thing, and we continue to do that, probably at a little bit more of an accelerated rate, just to give more opportunities for retailers to make a little bit more margin during this time, if they want to step up and buy some pairs, which is good. And I think the other thing too about dropship, we have actually just put a dropship capability in place for our B2B site. And so we're, currently working with a few customers and building up that base of customers that can actually drop ship. It's not a capability that we had before, and certainly it's been welcomed by our retailers. And the last thing I would say, and this is a little bit different as well, because I never thought that I would ever be giving masks to my customers as a promo item. But we actually did buy a quantity of Kodiak and Terra masks to send to our retailers. We actually, they went really within about 3 days. So we put in another order for some branded masks to send to our retailers to help them out. Obviously, it's good for our brand.
Yeah.
Promotes the brand, but it also shows that we're thinking about our retail partners when they're working there with the consumer. So
For sure.
Trying to have some fun with it and recognize that it's not an easy situation. So,
yeah. Mark, did you have anything you wanted to add to that in our last sort of segment here?
Well, I'll keep it tight, being respectful of the time. I was gonna reach over. I think we just re-upped on some masks ourselves, Dave. So
Nice.
they've been flying out the door. Really well received. Hey,
I'll
Craig,
send you one of ours if you want to send me one of yours.
trade. All right.
Okay.
Deal. The
We're all
swap.
friends here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I used to play rugby and exchange jerseys at the end of the game too.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to just kind of reiterate what Gail said, as well as Dave, on two specific points. One, Peter, you guys know your store, your customers better than any of us, and our territory managers have done a great job of working with you and identifying what the right opportunities are. So it surprised me recently, as we've also moved toward more digital marketing in support of our co-op programs, but we've approved a radio ad recently, we've approved an airport banner, and we've approved a window cling all in the last week, as well as digital campaigns. And it just shows how different it is depending on the store, the customer, where they are in Canada and the world. It's fun. I think if this panel was retailers talking about new and creative opportunities for co-op programs, I would tune in for sure. So,
well, I mean, that's maybe one for the AFA to have on the next go round. I think, they're always looking for great topics. So it might be one to jump in and would make a great conversation for an hour, really, to go through that. I agree with you, Mark. 2 minutes left
Absolutely.
here, folks, and I just wanted to say thank you for joining in here today. Greatly appreciate all of the information you've shared with us, and hopefully it's been help to the retailers and other wholesalers out there, everybody in the apparel and footwear industry, accessory industry here. So thanks again, and everybody be safe. Good luck, and we will be in touch somewhere down the road if trade shows roll again, and if not, virtually. Have a great day. Bye for now.
Thanks, Peter.
Goodbye, everyone.
Take care.